Welcome back into Midday, everyone. We're awful glad that you have tuned in on your Thursday. We're always glad when Lieutenant Roy Fisher from the Salvation Army drops in to see us. Thank you, Lieutenant, for being here today.
It's so great to be here. It's been a while.
It has been a little bit. We're glad that you're here today talking about a couple of things, including the Emergency Disaster Services at the Salvation Army. I think you're known for worldwide. You really are, but you were telling me in the break, whether it's near or far, you guys are always on standby.
Exactly. You know, our emergency disaster services have been around since 1900.
Wow.
The first time we responded was during the Great Hurricane of Galveston. And so ever since then, we've been going strong. Here we are 24 years later, and we're still going. You know, we just had Hurricane Beryl. And so the teams from Texas responded, but we also had 5 teams from the Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi division also go and assist as well. And so in that, they served over 63,000 meals, over 55,000 drinks. And one of the greatest things that the Salvation Army has developed in disaster services is the fact that we have what's called an ESC, which is an emotional and spiritual care specialist. And it's a great thing because when a survivor is going through a storm, they need that support.
Yeah. And
not just of the food and the physical things, but they need that emotional and spiritual care as well. And that's actually something that I have been certified in, as well as being a pastor and being a grief coach. You know, I'm able to do it, to work with all those different things, but I'm so excited that they developed that program a few years ago, and it's going strong. And so, as you can tell, I'm very passionate about our emergency disaster services, and I've responded to many things through my lifetime. And so whether it's away or close, we're always available. And so there's a lot more that we would like to do, but of course funding is one of the biggest things that's needed to be able to do it. And when a disaster hits, the community has been really great at providing the funds that when it comes into here, if it's for Beryl or anything, we automatically send it directly to them. It doesn't hit us, it goes straight to them to make sure that the funding is there to support the survivors and the victims of the storms.
You talk funding, and we're going to ask Lieutenant Fisher to stay over with us during the break, and we'll talk about how folks can help you and get into, I think, what you hit on a point. I think we talk about Salvation Army, and we see you packing up the food we talked about, but it is that support that you give, because often you're dealing with people truly dealing in the worst of circumstances.
Exactly.
You truly are. We're going to continue our visit with Lieutenant Roy Fisher after we take a break, but before. Welcome back in, everyone. Lieutenant Roy Fisher from the Salvation Army joins us. We're basically talking emergency disaster services, which really covers a large scope of things. It really does. Not just taking, much needed food, beverages, water into, whether it's hurricane, tornadoes and stuff, but you provide healing, emotional, spiritual, everything else.
Exactly. And, you know, for me, the emotional, spiritual care part of it is one of the most important parts. I mean, I've been on disasters where people have lost everything, rebuilt, and then lost again. And so being able to talk on that emotional and spiritual care balance of it is so important, because a lot of times they just need to talk. It's one thing to be able to give them the food, the water, the snacks, whatever, but just to have them talk things out is one of the most important things. And one of the things too with our emergency disaster services is, you know, it's worldwide. It can also happen right here in our own backyard. We just had storms last night, and had a lady call me that 72 years old, and a tree fell on her house, had some damage. The power company came out, pulled the meter because of the damage to the house, and said, you need to have an electrician come out. She's 72 years old on a fixed income. And she's like calling me to see if I have any electricians that I work with, because she just doesn't have the money to do it. And so, you know, it's important for the community to know that it's not just a big disaster like a hurricane, but it's just a flood, a tree falling on a house, anything, tornadoes. I've responded to so many different things throughout my lifetime that has really hit hard. And so for me, it's so important, and we're always needing volunteers. We can do some training for emergency disaster services, and get you trained in that, whether it be local or deploying elsewhere. And you just call us at our office, and if you want to donate financially, you just go to give.salvationarmy.org and be able to give to support our services.
And you see GiveSalvationArmy.org right there, and you see the local Salvation Army number right there on your screen if you would like to help. Roy, as always, thank you. Believe it or not, when he's here with us next month, we'll be talking Christmas.
Exactly.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Lieutenant
you.
Fisher of Salvation Army. Now to wrap